Subscribe and support the channel.
Alright, hello everyone. So, I've had someone request a quick add-on guide on some of the things that I have laid out in front of us. So, what I'll do is just set up a quick demo and made a list of, I've got a few add-ons, stuff like simulation craft and things like that, handy notes. Those aren't really, you're not really going to see that in any of my streams. Those are more for things I do outside just to make gold and stuff. I mean, I'm not immensely wealthy, so I'm not really here to set up gold guides or anything like that. I don't think I have any advice that's worth giving, to be honest. But yeah, let's go through it. So let's start with the most common one, which is Deadly Boss Mods. Deadly Boss Mods. So if you go /dbm, it pulls it up, and again, like, look, I'm not particularly well versed in Deadly Boss Mods, but you can kind of open it up, go through each different boss and see what's configured, and actually you can see what icons are used, and you can actually configure it yourself as you wish. There are streamers, probably, I don't know. I know Quasi is a streamer that puts out a lot of custom content, so you can actually import your own profiles so that it says things that are not the default way. So I mean, it's done by, I think, one developer, and he actually does a lot of live streams where he shows where he programs everything. But yeah, so that's DBM, and he sets it up in the way that he obviously thinks is best for people to see. Yeah, so that's DBM, and along with DBM, there's a thing I use called WeakAuras. So don't be too scared. WeakAuras, my whole party died. Oh, and they're not gonna release. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just reset this. So I know that if I shadow meld while there's a dot on someone, it's just gonna. Oh, okay. No, the boys are back. Yeah. So there's that. I'm actually just gonna leave and come back. I don't know why I started this, but yeah. Let's just take a quick second to reset. I can't show you WeakAuras because while you're in combat and you try to open it, it will just not. It'll just say you're in combat and can't open up. So let's just load out. Okay, so WeakAura, what it does is, so there's a bunch. I have this one up here. So this one tracks all the kind of raid buffs and you can get, and it has a little number on each one of them that shows how many party members are missing a buff. So that's kind of a cool one. Then I use Quasi's Demon Hunter WeakAura setup, but I only use a part of it. So this comes with several modules, and I've removed the ones that I didn't want. So he has set up the buttons over here, and it teaches you how to configure it so you can customize it, but I'm just a bad player, so I actually just configured the action bars to be up here using ElvUI, or however you pronounce that, because I like seeing, I don't know, the hotkeys associated with it. Like, that's just how my brain is. But also over here, there's a huge library of all your buffs that you get, your class buffs. So, if I pop Demon Blades, it'll show up here. All these kind of things will show up. Darkness, possibly? Yeah, there you go. And when you go out of it, it goes away, and when you're back, so it's quite nice. And also this resource bar, because the second thing that I use is ElvUI, is it EV? EC? So this is just a big UI thing. The default one's actually quite nice. For the longest time, I used the default one. and then I changed it. But all of these things, so Quasi has a thing called QUI, his own add-on, and I've gotten like another video that goes through this, but essentially if you load all of these tools, it sets it up, but I kind of mixed and matched the parts that I like. So this whole layout is majority him, so when you join a raid, the way it loads the raids, raid frames is his. The action bars I kind of like made my own, so I've got these ones down here that are like sort of mostly out of combat ones, and these are just my combat ones. His weak auras, you can pull any class and it'll just do the whole thing, but again I modified mine. And then he does use plater, so the way, and let's just quickly show this as well. So the way mob plates appear, so you'll see that yellow or red is quite normal. So if I join a follower dungeon, you'll see that some mobs will have a pink name, and when it has a pink name, those are interruptible. You'll see that next to the name of the mobs. I'm really hoping this happens faster. It's just a follower dungeon. Have I not? Something going on here? Am I already? Oh, because I'm already in a dungeon. Huh. And let's just demonstrate what those pink things look like. Sorry, I should be. So you can see the plater thing. It kind of shows you the relevant buff and it hides things that aren't relevant. On mobs, you'll see, I'll see if I can find some. You'll see that some mobs have actually got pink names, maybe not. When a mob has a pink name, you'll see that they are kind of the ones that you want to prioritize interrupting. And so the plater profile is just kind of like it makes life easy when you're kind of going into a dungeon and you don't necessarily want to even think about what's going on. I'm just kind of clearing this up so I can get to the boss to show you some other weak auras. So then going back to my weak aura, those are the class ones, and then I have this other one called raid ability timeline. So that's over here on the right, so it doesn't look very pretty at the moment, but I'll pull the boss so you can have a quick look at what that looks like. This raid ability timeline is not part of, is it QUI? Am I? Yes, sorry, we're going all over the place. So let's go back to it. So plater shows these nameplates. See how there's that tooltip, and if you put your mouse over like players, it'll show like their IO and stuff, and all those little things, those are all ElvUI things. So that's this add-on, this tooltip, very customizable. So he's customized it in this way, and it's very intuitive, minimal, kind of keeps things clean, gives the whole game a different look, a fresh look. And then he has details. So again, this is his details profile. I have these three windows because as a tank, I really want to just track what's going on with my heals and the healer. I really want to see just my damage, I guess. This one's actually just more of a ego boost and to like see big numbers. That's always fun. And avoidable damage taken. So this one is set on overall data because I just want to see, am I taking more damage than I need to? Generally as a tank, taking avoidable damage is okay because you do so much self-heal. Usually the healer doesn't even need to heal you. That taking a bit of damage that you shouldn't have is fine because you're not fragile. But if a DPS is taking substantial amounts of avoidable damage taken, that's a good indicator that they need to take a second to think about what they're doing. Or even as a tank, you might be responsible because of the way you're positioning or going back and forth, that now the DPS is getting burned by things they don't want to get burned. Quickly go through this list as well. So the ones that say false are the ones that I don't have. Mythic Dungeon Tools, great add-on. I actually do have it. I just turned it off to make my load time faster. So when the season came out, I got it, downloaded the routes, and it just helps you map everything. So that's more of a tanking thing. yeah, so if you haven't seen it before, it's something worth exploring. But I'm not going to go through that today because I don't really use it in my streams. Big wigs and little wigs is basically an alternative to deadly boss mods. I am particularly leaning towards deadly boss mods just because there's this audio thing and it says like remove boss from bar, or it'll say avoid this, or jump now, or interrupt. And these like audio cues kind of make my life very, very easy as someone who obviously is not too proficient at the game. So it just makes me sometimes it'll just say dispel now, and I'll just press my consume magic button on whatever has a thing and I'll dispel it without even knowing what it is because I don't really need to know. Cell is, so when you use cell, it's like a healing thing, so it replaces the unit frames with like this block that shows like buffs and debuffs and yada yada. It's very intuitive. I prefer using just a normal UI and this other add-on called Click, whereas cell is all of those things in one. So it just means that when you left click and shift click a unit frame, you can like do spells, assign spells. But I'll show you click as well, just as a bonus thing. I don't really use it on my Demon Hunter. It's more of a healer thing. And Omni CD again is, yeah, it's a great add-on, but I just don't like having the clutter, honestly. I kind of wing it, I pug everything. So Omni CD, what it'll do is, again, it's tailored by Quasi to complement this UI. So next to each party member, you'll see all their CCs and their big cooldowns. So things like my darkness, my sigil, all my sigils, all three of these sigils will appear. Chaos Nova will appear, and if other people have the add-on, they'll see whether these spells are on cooldown. And so you can kind of passively coordinate your CCs, and that's really important when you're doing pulls like, I don't know, that pack over there where they spin and heal and you want mass CCs to stop all those things. But you don't want to waste yours if you know that somebody else has a cooldown, or you don't want to rely on somebody else not realizing that theirs is on cooldown. So I would recommend getting that. But yeah, so let's talk about the last add-on I have, which is, sorry, the last WeakAuras, and I'll just demonstrate that quickly. So let's just clear these guys up. So the next, it's a WeakAuras, so again, let's just quickly show it. So it's a raid ability timeline. You can look this out on WoW.io. And what it does is just this. So it will just, oh, they lost it. How cool is that? It will just show you kind of what the boss is going to do next. I believe Quasi's add-on, whatever it is, like his big package, if you do get the whole package, I've kind of customized mine. It will actually show you individual mobs and their abilities on their plate here. So if this guy casts, a big blood AoE. I'm supposed to be the leader. Whatever. He casts like a big blood AoE, this one, War Blood. So you would actually see the cooldown of that on his nameplate, and instead of having a raid ability timeline, even for the boss, you would see on the boss's nameplate all their abilities and cooldowns. I personally, these guys are just going for it. Okay, I personally don't like that because it's just stressful just seeing all the stuff crowded on the screen. So yeah, that's just, again, my personal preference. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. Over here you can see the WeakAuras that shows the raid buffs. So 5 people are missing the Wind Fury buff and 4 people are missing Mark of the Wild. So, you know, if I was ever starting a dungeon, I would just say like, hey, rebuff. Or if people die and we're trying to just carry on up, you know, I'd just say, hey, rebuff, because it does matter. The next thing on the list is Blacklist Warden. So this is like it's kind of like a list of players, but it works across realms. So you add it, and you can see I've had a few people, just like people that are toxic, or you just because they have good DPS, if they're just toxic, sometimes that I just rather not be in a run with them. And it automatically mutes them, so you just never have to see anything they say. I probably shouldn't be naming and shaming. So what it does, yeah, is just that. So when you join a party with an individual on that list, you'll get a pop-up and it will say, this person is on your list for this reason. Are you sure you want to stay in this party? And then at that point, you can either, if you're the leader, you can just make your own decision and remove them. Or if they're in the party and you want to leave, you could just say to the leader, like, hey, look, I've had some bad experiences with this person, and I think I might just sit this one out. And the leader will, if they're a good, chill person, they might go, look, if that's how you experience it, I don't want to deal with it. And you both avoid the mess, or you just bow out and avoid having to deal with that person. The other add-on I use, sorry, I'm not used to all these things. What is this? Whatever, cursor trail. So cursor trail is just this little blue thing that follows my mouse. You can change it so that it does like different things. I forgot what mine one was. It was this one. I like it because sometimes I gotta use my mouse to do sigils. I use macros for those, by the way, so that it just does it on mouse point or whatever. But it can get so overwhelming when there's just like a bunch of mobs and numbers and things on your screen that I actually can't even quickly tell where my mouse is. So I just give it a quick shake and I know where it is, and then I can safely cast what I need to cast. So that's cursor trails. Click. Let's go to click. Okay, let's just go. Let's just go to options and see if I can find it in the normal manner. Click. Cool. Let's open that up. General options. How do I open this up? Maybe it's in here. Okay, yeah, it's in here. So click. What it does is you can assign, so you can see left click and right click is just the default on what happens. Now you can go into quick bind mode and you can make it so that when you're casting on an ally and casting on an enemy to do different things, so this is really good for healing. I'm going over this even though I don't really use it. I don't have anything I can actually cast on an enemy, so what I'm going to do is say I want to assign the hunt, and it's going to be shift. So I just on my keyboard press shift left button, and now it's created this. You can even go as far as editing this and say only cast out of combat, only cast on enemies or friendly units, only if you're hovering, all that kind of stuff. So I've made shift left click the hunt, right? So let's quickly go to a pack. So now if I just shift left click, you can see that it just casts it. So if you want to just free up, your action bars, I would personally recommend using that. I'm actually tempted to install some of those target abilities like Fiery Brand, the Hunt, even Interrupt to my unit frames. Sorry, to my click frames. So that's click. So we've been over details. So details is healing, damage done. This avoidable damage taken, I do believe you need the elitism add-on in order. It's like a plugin in order for to get that. So if you are after this particular window, you'll need to get that. Okay, yeah. So then the other add-on I have is called immersion. So if we quickly teleport out of the dungeon, I actually don't know if I need to go back in there. So. I can just do this here. So immersion is again a non-combat thing, but I like it So what it does is
What task can I perform for you?
when you're having conversations, it just creates this really cute, really nice window. And yeah, when you're questing as well, it creates a really beautiful dialogue. See if I can find just like a chill NPC to talk to. So, oh. No. Okay, I've never done that, but anyway. Yeah, so it just, yeah, it does those kind of things where it just makes things really kind of pretty and nice. I love this mask. I've never seen that. That's hilarious. It's an orc with a human mask. Yeah. Okay, so that's immersion. It's just like a quality of life more than anything. The next one is M+ teleport. So it's this thing here. You can actually turn on raid teleports. So I believe if you complete AOTC, you unlock a raid teleport. I could be wrong. I don't know. So I've unlocked all the teleports for Season 2, so if I just click this, I start teleporting. Over here, you won't see this just yet, but if I was to join a party, it will show all party members and their keys and the level of their keys. So mine's a +11 floodgate at the moment, and so that just means that, and the party leader will always be at the top. So if you join a group, you can assume that the top one will be the key. Obviously ask if you forgot. And if you want to just teleport and you're not interested in, I don't know, using brain cells, you can just quickly click the one there when it appears as a list. So it's a really cool quality of life. Again, out of combat thing. These teleports, again, if you're unfamiliar with Mythic Plus, you unlock each one when you complete any one of them at their 10. So if I do a 10 mother load, I've unlocked this ability to portal. So it's a really cool thing to have. So I can teleport now all the way across the world, basically. All right, the next one is mix scrolling battle text. So as you can see, I'm not getting hit. So on the right will usually be all the numbers of me getting damaged, and on the left is all the heals I'm receiving. This does require, again, a bit of customization. So the standard way it works is quite different, but so you can these are my scroll areas, and you can alter them, and in your scroll areas you can tick what you want to see in each one. You can, in the middle, I've got alerts that show me when my spells come off cooldowns or even items. So that's just it's just another thing. It's more to clean up my UI, so I don't want to see a lot of stuff flying around. The next one is pre-made group filter. So this one I would highly rate, especially if you're doing just 2s, 3s. So pre-made group filter, it creates this thing. It's quite cool. You can actually type in a filter expression, like a piece of code, if you're familiar with SQL, that kind of stuff, or even an Excel formula. Very simple. It's designed to be in a sense of words, so it's very non-technical. You go here and you can see everything you need, but in reality it's really simple. So you can filter by M+ ratings. So if I only want to see people with an IO of 3000 or more, there you go. I won't see it, and I won't see anything below. If I only want to see, obviously I've got 0 tanks because I just want to see groups with tanks. Also, I think if you just take that off, it'll always put groups with tanks way at the bottom, so you wouldn't even look at these if I was a tank, for example. But I just like having that. Sometimes if I'm lazy, I just prefer looking for teams with heals already in them, but as a DPS, I don't think you get that luxury. And then there's things like Bloodlust Fit and Party Fit. So Party Fit is so if you have 2 DPS, it won't show you teams that have 3 DPS because you would not be able to join that party. Bloodlust fit, yeah, just make sure you have a good composition. You can actually filter for specific dungeons that you want to see as well. So if you're particularly just trying to target, let's say I just want to do these dungeons and not those dungeons, I can just untick Rookery and Flood, and this way if I'm now looking for dungeons, I know I'm not going to see ones that I don't need to do. And then this is a default feature, so when you type in the search bar 12-12, because a lot of people will go 12, and what that does is it'll actually show you 11, 12s, and 13s. So one above and one below, same as 8s. It'll show you one above and one below. So if I just want to see 12s, you go 12-12. And now I'll only see 12s. And this one here, so if I was trying to do DFC, this is the most ideal one. It has a healer, it has the highest IO, and it automatically sorts it out, and you can see all the colors so you know who's in that party. You can even put your mouse over and see all the Raider IO information. So Raider IO is another app I use. Raider IO, you just have to download a client, but once it's there, it tracks your account. So there's my raid progress, there's my keys. Yeah, it's a really useful tool to have. So if you're finding that no one's inviting you or accepting your application, it's because you don't have Raider IO, and they can't tell what level of keys you've currently completed. So the score is just basically, it's not about how good or bad you are per se, it's just about what keys you've completed. And generally speaking, you would only accept someone, let's say if I was doing 12s, I would not accept anyone below 2,700 maybe, because that means that they haven't done all the 11s yet. So I wouldn't want someone doing 12. But in saying that, you know, maybe they're just a good player and they just haven't had the time to do it. But it's indicative, so you know, like you just have to. It's something you have to think about and call. If you really want to get into the nitty gritty and you want to invite someone who's got a lower Raider IO, you can even look at their Warcraft logs, and if they're tracking it, you can see have they successfully done their previous dungeons or have they just completely tanked it, and that's generally a strong indicator of what you would expect grouping with them. But don't heavily judge people. It's more just like a guideline. So you'll always see people in similar brackets of Raider IO and similar brackets of keys. So you'll see like 2,600 to 2,800 for 12s, and for 13s you would see higher and higher. So you kind of, yeah, just use that to guide you. The other two things I use, so one's called true stat value. So this one here is quite good because once you reach a certain point with your gear, so if I had all perfect gear, then my crit and haste will start to get capped, because my crit and my haste are my main two secondary stats. So at some point, so you can see my crit's pretty close, and if I have flask, chemical, alchemical, blah, 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 that one, sometimes when it goes to crit, my crit actually goes higher than the cap, and the reward that the crit's giving me actually is completely penalized, and I don't actually benefit from it. So that's just something to think about, and you can just see that for all your stats there. And again, I have this. So this one's called Pieces Dynamic Stat, I think. I can't remember. I'll put everything in the description. And this one, as you increase your stats, it'll like show you what your stats have as they change. So I don't know. There you go. My crit for some reason propped, and it's just a really nice, clean thing if you're trying to just keep track of your stats and seeing what's going on. You see that, and then yeah. Look, we're nearly done. The last one that I use that I like to talk about is a thing called pawn. So pawn is more for if you are leveling or if you are kind of don't know what the best gear for you is and you're kind of just enjoying the game and taking things as they go. Pawn, it has some default ones, but you can actually, if you're a DPS, you can actually simulate your weight stats and import it into here. And so if I go here, these are my weight stats. So it's saying to me, crit is as a Vengeance Demon Hunter, crit and haste are my highest, followed by versatility and mastery. And then for Havoc, this is what the last was, where mastery was the highest, followed by crit. And then as you get new pieces of gear, it'll put this little symbol. So this ring here would be fantastic for my Havoc spec. You can see it's got both my BIS, that's why I have it in there. And yeah, so all it does is when you have a new piece of gear, if it's an upgrade, it will, so if I take, let's say I take, what's something with BIS stats? I don't know, this neck piece, yeah. If I take this off, you can see it's an upgrade. It's not saying that it's a huge upgrade because I don't have a neck on. Let's swap this ring with this ring. So you can see for Vengeance, even though you know, this might be, actually it doesn't matter what the R level is because there's no primary attribute, but because of the secondary stats, it immediately tells me that this is an upgrade. And a really important thing to notice is also it does take primary stat into account. So this hero gloves is 655 and those champion gloves are 658. So just because of that agility, this is a better upgrade. The only caveat that this thing doesn't account for is things like trinkets and things like your tier set bonuses. So if I upgraded this hero track piece of equipment, it will actually tell me that this is better for me. But because this gives me my full piece set, this is better for me because that to me is significant. Like you'll see in dungeons, I don't know if I can pull up, there's a 12 I did. Let's pull it up on healing so quickly. So you could see my metamorphosis is my #1 healing thing as a demon hunter, and what the reason is because every time I get struck by some sort of damage, I have a chance of turning into my metamorphosis, which heals me. But what it also does is the full set, it resets the hunt, and every time you cast a hunt, it starts this whole glaive cleave pattern, which is like the bread and butter of healing and damaging as a demon hunter. So yeah, there we go. There's everything. I do have several other add-ons, and I can quickly give you honorable mentions. So Auctionator, fantastic tool. I'm not going to explain how that uses. Auto-flooded message queue, it's like something where you can set up so that you can, in trade chat, advertise your professions. I don't really use that anymore. I've switched to more passive ones. Healer protection, so this is the thing that says when you're out of mana, when you've got aggro, when you're dead. But I'm not currently in healers, but this character's not a healer, so I've actually turned that off. RC Loot Council, that's more for guild things, so don't worry about that. So when we do mythic raiding, we use RC Loot Council to distribute loot. Warp Delete, oh, I nearly forgot one. So Warp Delete, I actually can't show it to you, but it's the UI that shows how your mythic key is tracking when you're in the dungeon on the right. So in my streams you'll see that. It's cool because it shows you when you're running ahead or behind time on your pulls. It used to actually show you what additional percentage each pull was granting you before you killed it, so that you can kind of see how you're pulling. But you'll see that in my streams anyway. Craft Sim is a great, so that's, I'm not going to get into Craft Sim, but it's a whole other thing. I think I've done actually a video in Craft Sim, so absolutely get into that. We've all gone through these, we've gone through this. Handy Notes is great. It puts things on your map. It's like these kind of things. So when you're trying to complete like treasures, or you want to understand if you're like trying to capture mounts or do kind of achievements, It puts it all in here. If you have professions and there's certain items all over the map that will give you profession skills, so use that. Immersion, we've been through all these. Yeah. A plumber is a small quality of life add-on, but I don't really want to get into that either. But yeah, it's a great one. Check it out. And yeah, so yeah, thanks for coming along. Hopefully, hopefully some of these add-ons have added some value to you guys. And if there's anything else that you want me to go through and talk about, let me know.
Subscribe and support the channel.